You're at a point where eating less has become impossible. Yeah, we could say insane. Maybe you're already down to 1200 calories or even less, and you're beyond frustrated because the weight won't budge while your goal still feels miles away. You don't want to give up, but you're tired. You feel like the weight loss struggle is taking up too much space in your life by now. And you just can't understand why your body isn't responding despite your best efforts. Now, the truth is, your body has very good reasons to protect your fat stores. And if those reasons never get addressed, nothing changes. Not in 3 months, not in a year. The weight stays, the frustration grows, and the window where it's easiest to reverse this gets smaller. Today, we'll look at 4 of these reasons and walk through a step-by-step plan to rebuild your metabolism and get real results. And by the way, if you're new here, I'm Ina. I spent years working with women who were doing everything right and going nowhere. I also lived in myself, and that's why here we go beyond calories and get to what's actually keeping your body stuck. If you're ready for that, feel free to subscribe. You see, your body is not a simple calculator. It's a survival genius, and it's extraordinarily good at its job. No matter how hard you're pushing it, if your body picks up on even the slightest hint that its survival is at risk, it doesn't ask questions. It shifts into protection mode and decides that your fat stores are now emergency reserves. And that's not dysfunction, that's intelligence. The problem is that most weight loss advice is designed for a body that feels safe. Yours obviously doesn't. If you want to break the yo-yo cycle, we have to stop focusing on calories so much and start focusing on repairing your metabolic flexibility. To understand metabolic flexibility, we have to think of your metabolism like a hybrid engine that can seamlessly switch between different fuel sources. These fuel sources are the ones you already know: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Those provide energy in the form of calories. Now, these fuels aren't just in your food, they're also part of your body. Your muscle mass is made of protein, and your body fat is stored energy reserve. Your body can use all of them for fuel, and this is why weight loss fundamentally requires a calorie deficit. When you eat fewer calories, your body is forced to tap into its internal reserves, ideally your fat stores. And in a healthy metabolism, your engine knows exactly which fuel to use and when. It burns carbs, so glucose, when you eat, but seamlessly switches over to burning stored fat when you aren't. When you're metabolically flexible, your energy is stable and your weight doesn't just stick for no reason. But things get complicated when your metabolism becomes inflexible. When you're trying to lose weight, your body fat is what you would love to burn, of course. But if you're metabolically inflexible, your metabolism has different plans. It chooses whether to burn it or not, depending on what your lifestyle signals to your nervous system: danger signals or safety signals. Basically, if there are chronic danger signals, your body has difficulties accessing your fat stores. As soon as the glucose from a meal is burned, you're experiencing the hangover, those post-meal crashes, and a total dependency on caffeine and sweets just to get through the day, not to mention the frequent snacking and disrupted sleep. That is your body stuck in survival mode. Your engine simply can't switch between fuel sources properly because, based on your lifestyle, your metabolism blocks your ability to access fat stores through specific biochemical pathways. So even though there's more than enough fuel available, so your body fat, your engine is stalled because it's desperately waiting for the electricity, so glucose. And that's not weakness. That's your body rationing glucose because it no longer trusts its own ability to switch fuels. And when your engine is stuck in glucose burning mode, your body fat isn't available. It's locked behind a biological decision your nervous system made for reasons we're about to unpack. What causes metabolic inflexibility? The first driver of metabolic inflexibility has absolutely nothing to do with what you eat, but it has everything to do with the last hour before you fall asleep and the first hour after you wake up. Those are the 2 most metabolically critical windows of your entire day. And most of us are spending both of them staring at a screen. When you scroll or watch TV before falling asleep, you allow blue light to suppress your melatonin. But melatonin is your body's primary signal that it's safe to relax and recover. Without that signal, your body never fully shifts into restoration mode. Your stress level doesn't drop the way it should, your cells don't repair, your hormones don't reset properly. And your body reads all of it as a danger signal, staying in protection mode. And then morning comes. You reach for your phone first thing, you drink coffee before water, and skip natural daylight. To you, those are just routines. But to your body, that's a metabolic disaster. In those first few minutes after waking, your brain is operating in alpha and theta waves. That's a state of calm, open receptivity where your nervous system is gently transitioning from sleep to wakefulness. It's a very delicate neurological handover. When you hit that screen immediately, you flood that open state with external stimulation and force your brain straight into high-frequency problem-solving beta waves while your brain is still fragile. That's when a message that will feel routine 10 minutes later now reads as urgent, overwhelming. Not because it is, because your nervous system never had the chance to stabilize. Cortisol spikes more than it should. You're unintentionally wiring your nervous system into reactive, defensive mode before your feet even hit the floor. And then by choosing coffee over water, you try to jumpstart a dehydrated system with a stimulant that further spikes cortisol. And by skipping natural daylight, you block serotonin production, the neurotransmitter that regulates mood, focus, and the ability to handle stress properly. Your day starts in fight or flight, it ends in exhaustion, and your body never once receives a signal that things are okay. Now, that chronic, low-grade emergency state sets a metabolic inflexibility tone for pretty much the entire 24-hour cycle, all before you've even eaten a single calorie. And that survival state is exactly what leads you into the next trap. This one is the cruelest because it catches the most disciplined women. You see, when you're metabolically inflexible, most standard fitness and diet advice doesn't just not work. It actively makes things worse because metabolic inflexibility is rooted in chronic stress. And in that state, your nervous system is already sending constant signals to store fat and conserve energy. So when you follow those health rules, skipping dinner to extend your fast, cutting calories further, dropping carbs, adding more cardio, you aren't breaking the cycle, you're deepening it. You see, your body doesn't experience intermittent fasting as a health optimization. It experiences it as a fuel crisis. And for a system already running on cortisol, missing food, especially missing carbohydrates, is a red alert. Your body enters a state of total metabolic desperation. Since you aren't providing enough carbs and your body is refusing to release its fat, your liver enters a process called gluconeogenesis, literally the creation of new glucose. It does this by breaking down non-sugar sources of fuel. And in this case, the source is your own muscle tissue, not your fat stores, your muscle. Why? Because muscle is what scientists call metabolically expensive tissue, meaning it costs your body an enormous amount of energy just to maintain it. For a system in survival mode, that cost becomes a liability, so it eliminates it. Again, a metabolic disaster because muscle is your body's most important organ for long-term metabolic flexibility. The more of it you have, the more efficiently your metabolic engine runs, from hormone regulation to blood sugar to energy distribution. But muscle isn't the only thing you're losing. Years of eating poorly or not enough to force a result left your cells depleted of the very nutrients required to run fat metabolism in the first place. Iron, B12, and magnesium, those aren't just general wellness supplements. They are the biochemical tools your mitochondria, your cellular power plants, need to actually convert stored body fat into usable energy. Without them, that fat-burning pathway is physically blocked at the cellular level. So the more you restrict, the more you're unintentionally destroying your long-term ability to stay lean. You're trying to be disciplined, but your discipline is draining the body of the resources it needs to actually change, which only reinforces your metabolic inflexibility. So now you have a system that's stressed, it breaks down muscle instead of fat, and that's running on empty at a cellular level. That's already a significant metabolic load. But we haven't even talked about what happens when your biology starts changing underneath of all that. And this is the part that catches most women completely off guard. On top of everything your nervous system is already managing, your hormones begin to shift. For most women, this starts in their mid-30s and 40s. For a system already under pressure, this transition doesn't happen gently. It hits hard. There is a massive difference between a natural biological transition and a metabolic collapse. And your lifestyle, specifically the stress load and the depletion we just talked about, is what determines which one you experience. Have you ever noticed how things that used to be minor are suddenly running your life? Maybe it's the PMS that now lasts half the month, brain fog that you can't think your weight out of, that strange puffiness in your face and ankles that won't go away, the mood swings that feel disproportionate, waking up at 3 a.m. You think you're just getting older. But what's actually happening is that your primary regulators, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, are beginning to decline. These aren't just reproductive hormones. They are the primary drivers of your insulin sensitivity, your hunger regulation, your ability to burn fat efficiently, and your capacity to build and maintain muscle mass. As they decline, your body becomes significantly less efficient at accessing fat for fuel. It shifts towards storage, particularly as visceral belly fat. And if your instinct at this point is to add more cardio, I truly understand that. I've been there. It feels like the logical response. More movement, more calories burned, more progress. But for a hormonally struggling body that's already running high on stress and nutrient deficiencies, the real issue is what you prioritize. Most women chase cardio while strength training doesn't really happen. And that's the trap. Strength training is what actually improves your metabolism at the hormonal level. Cardio is just burning calories you don't have to spare. So now you have a stressed nervous system, a body burning muscle instead of fat, depleted cellular resources, and hormones actively reshaping the metabolism. Each of these creates the conditions for the next. And when all four converge, your body hits a physical traffic jam. Nothing moves. Not fat, not energy, not progress. And no amount of willpower can push through it. That visceral belly fat we just talked about isn't simply stored energy waiting to be used. It produces inflammatory compounds called cytokines. These cytokines create a sustained low-grade inflammatory state throughout your entire system. And this inflammation directly damages the cells lining your liver and your gut. These are the two primary organs responsible for hormonal balance and clearance. When inflammation gets to these tissues, they lose their ability to process and remove used hormones efficiently. Instead of being cleared, those used hormones recirculate in your bloodstream. And that's not good at all, because now you have two severe hormonal problems happening simultaneously. First, your primary hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone, are already naturally declining. Second, the old hormone metabolites that should have been eliminated are recirculating. The result, a total hormonal breakdown. Recirculated hormones accelerate insulin resistance. Insulin resistance drives even more belly fat storage, and more belly fat produces more inflammation. The vicious cycle deepens. This is exactly why your cravings become impossible to ignore. Your brain detects a genuine cellular energy crisis. It triggers every survival mechanism it has to force you to eat. The irritability, the hunger, that is biology, not a lack of willpower. Pushing harder fails, cutting more calories fails, and now you understand exactly why. For the hormonal decline specifically, we have a solution coming in just a few minutes. But first, we must repair your metabolic foundation. Nothing shifts upstream until the foundation is rebuilt. So, how to become metabolically flexible again? There is one shift that has to happen first. And it is the most counterintuitive thing I will ever tell you. You need to eat more. Not binge, not cheat, more. Consistently, deliberately, without guilt, more. Because your nervous system has been waiting for exactly one signal, that the famine is over. Until it gets that signal, nothing else works. You cannot negotiate with a body that still thinks it's starving. This is the foundation. And I know it feels wrong. Every instinct you've built over years of dieting tells you that eating more means gaining more. But that instinct was trained on a broken model, one that never accounted for what chronic restriction actually does to a stressed body. You've already seen what it does. So this is where we start. You need complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, quinoa, and legumes. Those become your most powerful metabolic signal, 80 to around 120 grams a day. That range is not arbitrary. Below it, your body reads scarcity. Above it, without metabolic readiness, insulin spikes. That window is where your nervous system finally starts to exhale. Compare that with protein, with 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, not for how you look, for what you're rebuilding. Every gram of protein you eat is a message to your body: stop breaking down muscle, start building it back. But protein alone doesn't build muscle. You need to move, but probably not the way you've been moving. Most women do 5 cardio sessions a week and maybe 1 strength session, if at all. Flip that. 2 focused strength sessions and 2 cardio sessions. Because muscle is your body's primary glucose sink. The larger it is, the more sugar it pulls directly from your bloodstream and the less insulin your body needs to produce. Cardio supports the process. Strength training builds the infrastructure that makes fat loss biologically possible. That's a priority shift. Now, the part that costs nothing but feels impossible for most of us. No screens at least 30 minutes before bed. No phone for the first 20 minutes after waking. You already understand why. You've seen what blue light does to your melatonin. What happens when your brain gets ripped into beta waves before it's finished transitioning. What you may not realize is how fast this changes things. Women who implement this one shift, just this one, often report sleeping through the night for the first time in years within 2 to 3 weeks. Because they stopped actively breaking the one system that repairs everything else while they sleep. Then step outside within the first hour of waking. Natural daylight sets the hormonal cascade that governs your energy and fat utilization for the entire next 24 hours. It costs you 5 minutes. And now the part most women have been waiting for, and the part most women are also the most afraid of. Earlier, we talked about what happens when your primary hormones decline. This is where hormone replacement therapy comes in. And I need you to stay with me here, because the fear most women carry around HRT was built on a single study, the Women's Health Initiative in 2002. Now, that study used synthetic hormone analogs, not bioidentical hormones. Its conclusions have since been significantly revised. The medical community has largely moved on. The fear, unfortunately, has not. What bioidentical hormone replacement therapy can do when used correctly at the right time with the right practitioner is restore the hormonal foundation that makes everything else you're doing actually land. Better sleep, better insulin sensitivity, better mood, better muscle retention, better metabolic flexibility. It doesn't replace the work. It's what allows the work to work. Now, this topic deserves its own space, and it's getting one. A full video is coming, and if it's already up, you'll find the link in the description. Every one of these steps builds on the last. You're not following a protocol. You're systematically removing the reasons your body decided to protect its fat stores in the first place. How long does it take? It depends on how long your body has been in survival mode. But the signs that it's working come earlier than you expect. Sleep deepens, cravings quiet down, energy becomes more predictable. Women who go through this process describe it the same way. They stop dreading the mirror. They stop counting every bite. They start feeling like themselves again, not a restricted version of themselves. If you want to start tonight, put your phone on the other side of the room before bed. That's your one thing. And if you want to go deeper, I'm here. If you're at the point where you want someone to look at your specific situation and map out exactly what your body actually needs, you can apply to work with me directly. The link is in the description. And until next time, remember, your body never needs to be fixed. It needs to be understood.